All right, you just completed making tints and now it is time to move on to making shades. So I'm going to show you the student example from last year again. So we are seeing this example completed by one of my students last year, where we have our tints on this side and our shades on this side. So you'll notice that the shades are a little bit darker and a little bit moodier. And it's nice to have these side by side just so you can compare visually what the different colors look like, whether it's a tint or a shade or whether you're using it just straight out of the paint palette. All right, so let's set this aside and talk about what you're going to need. Obviously, you're going to need your visual journal. It's nice to be able to work side by side to compare the images, or I should say the colors, not the images. But if you have to work on a page where you're not seeing it, that's okay. It's not going to hurt anything. So you want to make sure you have your journal, a fresh, clean page, your watercolors, water, a paintbrush, and a paper towel, and also something to write with, which brings me to the definition. So I want to make sure that you put a heading at the top that says shade. Again, you can do that in any style writing you want. I chose to do shade in all black because a shade is just a color plus black. So you'll notice over here, my tint is a lot lighter. It's painted in using a tint to try and kind of remind myself that, you know, a tint is a very light color or pastel, whereas a shade is darker, a color plus black. So I'll put that definition up on the screen for you, and then you can pause it and write it in your visual journal, however you like. Okay, once you've written that down, we're going to set this page up just like we set up this page. So it's going to go pretty fast today. We're going to turn this underneath just so I have a little more room to work. I'm going to put my paints right beside it so you can see what I'm doing. And I am just going to get started. So if you remember last time, we activate our paints by putting a drop of water in. I've already done that. And then I am just going to go down the page working with violet, blue, green, yellow, orange, and then red. So same concept, I'm using the flat angled brush, putting my purple on. I'm going to rinse my brush out just like I did in the last video. And I'm going to continue down the line, leaving space between. So it's going to look very similar to the way we set it up last time. Okay, and just like last time, we're going to come back up to the top and we are going to leave a space, and then we are going to paint in a rectangular shape or a square-like shape, and we're going to leave space in between them just like we did with our tints, because we're going to be painting a shade of each color in between. I'm just using our regular values right now, our regular hue, so just our regular hue of blue. Yes, I'm being very corny, sorry about that. Maybe not even corny, maybe just obnoxious. Repeat this process the whole way down. Okay, so our page is fully set up, and now we are going to get into mixing our shades. So we're going to start with our purple just like last time. And again, if you maybe have less control or you're worried about messing up your page, you may want to set this aside for a while and go back to your warm-ups or work on a drawing while you're waiting for this to dry. Feeling okay about my ability to paint in between these, so I'm gonna head and keep working. So you have that ability to choose. So you're going to, when you're ready, you're gonna take your violet, add it to the top of your clean palette, rinse your brush, And black is a very strong color. So we're going to start with a very small amount of black in there. And the goal is to have it still be a shade, hence the name of purple or violet, and for it to not just be solid black. So we don't want it to be identical in color to what we already have there, but we also don't want it to just be black. So make sure that you are taking the time to check that before you go to paint it on. If you need to get a scrap paper or check it on a paper towel, you can do that. Okay, so now I'm going to rinse my brush out and I'm going to make a shade of blue. Same process. I'm going to start with my blue, wash my brush, and I'm going to use a small amount of black. Okay, wash your brush. Use your green. Remember not to have these two run into each other. Small amount of black. Rinse your brush before you do that. Probably our trickiest one is going to be our yellow. So yellow is a really weak color, so we're going to put our yellow here. And what I mean by saying it's weak is that it's easily overpowered. So I'm going to wash my brush out. And I'm going to use the smallest amount of black, because I can always add more. Okay, and that was probably just about enough. I might add just a tiny smidge more. Okay, that's plenty. So I'm going to go ahead and paint that on now. Okay, it's time to clean the top of your palette out again. Really clean that out well. And we are going to now create our orange. Wash your brush out. Add a small amount of black. I'm going to add a little bit more orange to mine because I think I may have gotten a little bit too much black. Okay, wash your brush, and we're going to finish with our final color, which is red. Okay, and there you have it. Now you have your page with your shades. So we can compare them side by side. Just kind of look at the difference between the values, okay? So as we move into our next assignment, you're going to be thinking about which you prefer, which ones you want to use together. Maybe you want to do all tints or all shades. There's a variety of different ways we can go, but now you know how to make every color on the color wheel, plus the tints and shades. So you should be well prepared for our next assignment.